Hi everyone, today we're going to be going through lesson 1.3 and 1.4, day 1, which is solving equations by adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, but this is specifically only for solving one-step equations. So in example 1, it says determine which value of x is the solution of the equation, and then you'll notice that we have 3 different options for x that are possibilities. So we're trying to determine if x equals 12 works, x equals 24 works, or x equals 36 works in the equation x minus 6 equals 18. So we're going to start by putting in 12. So when x equals 12, I would end up with 12 minus 6 is equal to 18. And I have to ask myself, is that true or not? And I put the little question mark above the equal sign to indicate that we're trying to determine if it's an equation or not, if it's a true statement or not. And obviously we can tell that 12 minus 6 will actually be equal to 6. And because 6 does not equal 18, we would put a slash through the equal sign to indicate that that is not a true statement, and therefore we would know that x equals 12 is not a solution. And so we could write the word no underneath. Next, we're going to try when x equals 24. And so again, we're going to substitute the 24 in where we saw x. And so now it'll read 24 minus 6 equals 18. And again, we're trying to determine if that is true or not. When we do the subtraction, 24 minus 6, we do get 18. And so 18 equals 18 is the correct answer. And so we would say, yes, this does work. Now, you probably would assume at this point that you're done, and you are correct, but it is a good idea to always try the third option just to make sure that you did not make an error in the previous attempts. So let's try when x equals 36. And if we put 36 in for x, we would have 36 minus 6 equals 18. 36 minus 6 is actually 30, and so we would say no, this is not a solution. So that was example 1. In example 2, we're asked to solve the equation. So in the previous example, we were given possibilities for x and just trying to figure out which one worked or did not. Now we're actually going to use inverse operations in order to solve. So in example 2, letter A, when we see that x is being subtracted by 8, we automatically ask ourselves, how do I isolate x using inverse operations? Because we're subtracting 8 initially, the inverse would be to add 8 to both sides. And so we will do that now. Show the addition on both sides always. Now we see then that that will cancel the minus 8 on the left and will isolate x, which was our goal. And on the right-hand side, 19 plus 8 will give us 27. And so our solution is x equals 27. Over here, to show a check step, we would just show when we substitute 27 back in, the 27 minus 8 does in fact equal 19. And so you can just show that it checks. In letter B, we notice that our variable is being multiplied by 6. So the inverse of multiplication is to divide. So we would divide both sides by 6. And we would find that r is equal to 3 when we divide 18 by 6. On the left, the 6 is canceled, which isolated our variable to get us our solution. And again, we can check our answer by substituting the value of the variable, which in this case was 3, back in where we saw the original variable. So 6 times 3, and we want to know, does that in fact equal 18? And in your check step, you really should put the little question marks above the equal sign, and then we see that it does in fact work. And our last one in this example, d divided by 3 equals 11. So we have to ask ourselves, what is currently happening to the variable? We see that d is being divided by 3. So the inverse operation is going to be to multiply by 3. Whatever we do to one side, we must do to the other. So we will multiply by 3 on both sides. We will now end up with d is equal to 33 as our solution. And so our final check step here would be to put the 33 in where we see the d, 33 divided by 3, and we want to know, does that equal 11? And of course it does. Check. So we are sure about that. And then now we have example 3 down at the bottom. So let's take a look at that one. Let's read through it, and then we're going to write an equation and solve. So Ryan collected stray golf balls all summer at the golf course. He decided to sell the golf balls he found. He sells each ball for $3. He made $210 in total. How many golf balls did Ryan find and sell this year? Write and solve an equation for this problem and use B as the variable. So we know what happened here. We know that he was able to sell the golf balls for $3 a piece. So we can think of it as 3 times the amount of balls that he found. So our equation would be 3 times B equals the total. So in this case, 3B would equal $210. And again, we're trying to determine how many balls he was able to find. Now we ask ourselves what's currently happening to the variable term. It's being multiplied by 3. The inverse is to divide by 3. So we'll do that on both sides. We've now isolated the variable, and we find our answer, 210 divided by 3, is 70. And so the answer, B equals 70 balls, is the amount that he found.